Thanks, Marge. So thanks, everybody, and thank you, Marge, for the opportunity to speak today about something that's been near and dear to my heart for many, many years, monarch butterflies. So I'm fairly proud of the work that Richmond Hill has done in the last number of years since we passed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. I think that was back in 2015 or sorry, it was after that. It would be 2018 or so. Anyway, we passed this pledge on a motion that I put forward to council, and it commits the city of Richmond Hill, which was the town of Richmond Hill at that time, to take a number of different actions that would help monarch butterflies in our municipality. It's an initiative by the National Wildlife Federation, and it has municipal signatories all across North America, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute. So if you can put the next slide up, Marge. There we go. So I just thought I'd start off with this photo. This is, I've raised monarch butterflies throughout a good part of my life. And this was a photo that was taken a few years ago. And in that photo, basically, we've got all the 4 stages of a monarch's life captured in one photo. We've got the caterpillar, which is hanging upside down in a J shape, ready to make a chrysalis. We've got a chrysalis just to the left of it, and it's usually the chrysalises are green. There's a green one in the background. But the one that's in the foreground is black and orange, and it's ready to hatch. It probably would have hatched within 15 or 20 minutes after this photo was taken. And then we've also got 2 monarch butterflies hanging upside down that have just hatched. This photo was taken a few years ago, but this kind of summarizes the life cycle of monarch butterflies in one photo. So next slide, please. So this I thought was a fun photo to add. This is my son when he was about 8 years old. And when I was a really little kid, about that age, I raised monarch butterflies with my family. And we had a cottage in Sault Ste. Marie, or near Sault Ste. Marie. And every summer we would go out and we would collect monarch caterpillars, and we would feed them milkweed, and we would raise them. And over those years, we raised thousands of them. As a matter of fact, right around that time, this was before scientists understood where monarchs went in the winter. And there's a Canadian scientist named Fred Urquhart from the University of Toronto that discovered a very small location in Mexico where all of the butterflies, or the monarch butterflies from Eastern North America, congregate. It's an area called El Rosario, and it's up in the mountains. And it's interesting because this was, long before the internet, and all the local people knew that the monarchs gathered there every year because they believed that the monarch butterflies were bringing the spirits of their deceased relatives back to them. And so for a period of time every year, they had a festival celebrating that arrival. But if you go to this location, there are just thousands and thousands, well, millions of them hanging out in the trees, and they hang out there all winter long before making their journey back to other parts of North America. So we wrote to Fred Urquhart back all those years ago and said that we would be happy to participate in his citizen science project to help tag the monarch butterflies. But I believe he wrote back saying that thanks very much, but he wasn't really interested in kids helping out. It was more of an adult thing. So we didn't end up doing it. So fast forward to when my son was born, we started doing raising monarchs again, because it's just a great activity for children. And during the interim time, there's an organization called Monarch Watch, and they actually have a tagging program where you can sign up from anywhere in North America. They'll send you little tags that you attach to the wings of the monarch. And then when they migrate to Mexico, if the tags are found anywhere along the route, it gets reported to Monarch Watch, and the scientists use that to help to support monarch butterfly research. They've done some really good work, and some of the leading authorities on monarch butterflies are affiliated with Monarch Watch. So next step, please, or next slide, I mean. So we covered a little bit about the monarch life cycle. So they start as an egg, which I guess I didn't have in that last photo. They lay their eggs on milkweed. The eggs will hatch, and they will go through 5 different phases in their caterpillar stage, each time shedding their skin and getting a bit bigger and a bit bigger. Then they'll create a chrysalis, and then once the chrysalis happens, about 10 to 14 days pass, and then the monarch emerges. But what's really interesting about that is that the same monarchs don't make the trip to Mexico and back. It actually happens over several generations. So the monarchs that are overwintering in Mexico, they actually spend the winter in Mexico, and they come up to around Texas or the southern United States in the springtime. They lay their eggs, and then they die, and their children end up making the journey from there to, say, places like Richmond Hill. Then they die. The generation of their children ends up living their whole life in places like Richmond Hill, and it's their children that end up going back to Mexico. So the butterflies that are hatching right now are the only ones that actually make the trip to Mexico. So strictly speaking, they're the only ones that speak Spanish. That's my best monarch joke, sorry. But those monarchs live for about 8 or 9 months. The rest of the monarchs, the other 3 generations of monarchs, only live 1 or 2 months. So there's something, and scientists not sure exactly what causes that, but it's certainly an important part of the life cycle. So I guess part of the problem with that way of doing things with the monarch is that there's a whole bunch of different threats that happen over thousands and thousands of kilometers, all the way from Mexico all the way to Canada. I won't go into all of those things, and nor am I an expert on all of those things, but the lack of milkweed, say, in the central part of the United States is actually a threat to milkweed eating insects like monarchs in Canada. Logging in El Rosario, Mexico, and taking down these Oleamel fir trees where they spend their winters is actually a threat to monarchs coming back to Canada, because if they can't overwinter successfully in Mexico, then there's a real problem. They won't make it back to places like Richmond Hill. So it is a municipalities and governments from all across North America participate. There needs to be a real unified approach, and that's part of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and why we're doing it is that it actually it takes whatever municipality you're from in North America, and it gives you something positive to do. So we've got municipalities all the way in the United States and Canada and in Mexico that have all signed on and are making positive changes. So as I referenced, Richmond Hill a few years ago did pass the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and we've done all kinds of good work since that time. And as a matter of fact, when my son and I were raising milkweed, monarchs a few years ago, one of the biggest problems that we had is we would collect the caterpillars up at our cottage, and then we'd come home back to Richmond Hill, of course, but it was hard to find milkweed in Richmond Hill. Since one of the most important parts of the pledge in any municipality, but including Richmond Hill, is that we stop mowing as much, because when we mow, we take out a lot of milkweed. And as a matter of fact, as a part of our pledge in Richmond Hill, we are committed to planting more milkweed, allowing the milkweed that's naturally growing to survive. And now there's lots of milkweed in Richmond Hill. I mean, there's not enough, but there's certainly a lot more than what has been in the past. So the Mayor's Monarch Pledge has created a real difference to monarchs. And we've restored and naturalized many, many acres of land. We've changed the way we do things, as I mentioned before, with our mowing. And we've created a huge amount of public awareness as to why this is important. But I would also say, and this is really important, I'm a big fan of monarch butterflies. There's no question about that. They've meant a lot to me over my life. I find them an unbelievably miraculous creature. But the things that we do to protect monarch butterflies are also the things that we do to protect other insects, for example, pollinating insects, because a lot of the same types of things that monarch butterflies need, pollinating insects need as well, like native plants and native flowers. So it's been a real win-win situation. But I also think that the monarch is a very iconic species, a little bit like the World Wildlife Federation panda. And I think that it's a real creature that can create a lot of environmental awareness for other environmental issues. It's a great thing for kids to learn about the environment. And so I think really at the end of the day, it's about monarch butterflies, but it's also about a lot more and some very important aspects of our ecosystem. So if we can get the next slide, please. So we were, Richmond Hill was one of the first ones to sign the pledge. And it was interesting. We were, the National Wildlife Federation paid for the original signatories from Canada to go to a conference. And we were there, I think Pickering was there, Markham was there, and Carling Township, which is up near Parry Sound, was there. And I think Montreal was also one of the early signatories. I kind of went over some of the accomplishments that we've had in Richmond Hill since we've done that, and what that's meant to the greater natural environment. And then last year, the Toronto Region Conservation Authority sponsored the flight of the Monarch Day as August the 22nd, which we'll be recognizing in Richmond Hill again this year. And that's a day that they've marked that kind of begins the migration of monarchs from places like Richmond Hill back to Mexico. And then kind of in concert with that, last year, especially during COVID, I decided that I would try to do something that would help people to, actively participate in monarch butterfly conservation. So if we can get the next slide, Marge. So last year we started the Richmond Hill Monarch Tagging Challenge. And what this program was, is it's something that I started that encourages people and gave people the information and the tools to be able to raise monarchs like I've done for most of my life. And then we've got tags from Monarch Watch, which you can put on the wings of the monarchs before you release them and then let them go. And we had lots and lots of people that were participating in that last year. And we're also got quite a few people signed up this year. Just to show you, I don't know that you can see this or not. Can you see this on your screen? Yeah, these are the tags that you get from Monarch Watch. So they look like little Avery labels that you get at Staples. They weigh virtually nothing, and they don't affect the monarch in its ability to fly. But anyway, if anybody is interested in signing up for the tagging challenge, we still have tags left, and we'd be certainly happy to have you participate. And if you'd like to, you can contact me either through email, which is david.west@richmondhill.ca, or if you want to give me a call on my cell number, it's 416-346-3090. And I'm pretty sure Marge at the end of this seminar will send out a link that to both my website, which has a lot more information about the challenge, and also my contact information. I'll just end by saying it's a great opportunity for adults to participate, and a lot of the participants that we've had both this year and last year were adults. But it's also just a fantastic opportunity for kids to really experience some aspect of nature. It was very instrumental in my life as a young child to be able to, care for and release these beautiful creatures. And so if you've got kids or grandchildren that want to sign up, we'd be happy to have them too. So anyway, thanks, Marge, and thanks to everybody for listening. That's a lot of information, I guess. I am very passionate about the subject, so I appreciate the opportunity to help spread the word.